Burn too much time, get the jump done without worrying about it too much. It's not going to get any closer the more you stare at it, and then get yourself across to the rest. Would appear to be how it goes, although figuring out how it's going in the women's lead season this year is a very tricky process.
That was quite nice. She managed to get that right heel up. We saw Ashima just trying to recalculate what to do there to get the right foot up. Zhang just did it from the really wide hand position.
Again, a bit of a decision to be made here about how to clip. Looks like she might go for the Vita Luke and clip it off the left hand, perhaps.
Yeah, it's quite an awkward position actually on left hand, right foot. Just goes for the heel over the hand on that little screw on jib. Just shuffles the fingers out of the way and pushes on to the next move before clipping.
Ended up in a good position after a bit of thinking.
Just needs to adjust that left heel to get it on the nose of that volume. It doesn't in the end, just uses the right foot to push through. Now she adjusts the left foot and gets the double clip.
Yeah, just gets a double clip. Ashima definitely thought about that one but didn't go for it. Zhang now needs to commit to this jump up.
Yeah, I was wondering if Ashima was going to do that, just swapping the feet and jumping off the big left-hand dish, but it looks like Zhang's going to try something even different to that. It goes quite statically, bringing the hands together and getting a right toe up on that lower crimp.
I'm not quite sure what she pulled off with the right hand. Was she just squeezing the bottom of the volume?
Yeah, she just sort of stack matched the pocket, just put one hand in, chuck the other hand on top. That's not going to go anywhere. And there, plant your foot, pull to the jug.
Well, I never. So she's a move away now from a decent rest.
Looks like she's going to look for that feet first option.
That's clever climbing. Oh, that nearly wasn't clever climbing.
Good save.
What a really good save. Talk about heart in the mouth.
Yutong's just got that little right foot clamp as well. She seems to use this method of really getting the feet as high as possible on every single move.
Yeah, really leads with the feet. So now she'll get the right foot out wide. That foothold's just useless for the move before, and then it's just where you want it for the next one. So 2 more clips and she'll find herself at the top, but there's an awful lot of hard climbing still to go. Pulling onto the head wall now. Ashima, remember, has got the high point. 36 for her was when she timed out. That's still quite a few moves away above Zhang.
Yeah, Ashima had 10 seconds left at this point. Zhang's got 1 minute 34, but she is looking really tired. Didn't use that lower rest. She's going to have a real fight on her hands here.
And went up for it. That was a hole 32 she went up for, so it'll be a 31 plus of that, I'm pretty sure.
That was really interesting, Charlie. When she got to the rest, she almost fell off. She had the one-hander catch on the rest. She took one look over her shoulder, looked at the time, and instantly quested off. You think maybe she could have taken 10 seconds, 20 seconds would have been enough potentially just to relax and get a little bit back. In the end, she ended up rushing out of the rest and kind of was the opposite of Ashima. Maybe she was learning something from the crowd's response to Ashima.
So 4 climbers out. We've got a very, very entertaining women's final route. So it'll be, yeah, I think that was a 31 plus, 33 plus. Yeah, 33 plus. Anyway, she moves into second place, so she's not going to improve on her Chamonix result. Of that we can be sure. She was second there a week ago. Mia Krampel will be out next, the second of 3 Slovenians. Let's have another look at Zhang.
Yeah, this is just going into the rest. This is just watch the, I think it was the foot that came off. She over-rotated on the right foot. As she went to bring her right heel in, it almost went above her head and just spun her completely, rotated the body basically at this point. From that rest, from the rest, she didn't rest basically. She just quested off, and at which point she got really pumped in the head wall. with a fair amount of time left. I think it was around 1 minute 30 she had left, with good 10 or so moves still to go. So she had time up there. Yeah, she actually had 9 moves left with 1 minute 34. So you think, just reflecting on her timing when she watched the video back, maybe slightly over panicked looking at the time.
There's the scores as they stand. Ashima Shirashi leading the way, 36 to Zhang's 33 plus, Vita Lucan's 32 plus, and Nina Artaud's 24 plus. 4 climbers gone, 4 still to come. 2 of them Slovenian, 1 of them Japanese, and 1 of them Korean. Getting the big intro again, Mia Krampel. There's a brief pause now before the 5th climber comes out. As I say, Mia Krampel, who we're about to see next, never been on a lead World Cup podium. Mike, expert route setter like yourself.
Steady on.
It's a big word, the E word. If you were a coach and you'd watch this and one of your athletes was going to climb on this route next, what would your advice be?
I think it's about going as smoothly as possible to the rest. The route setters have put in an obvious rest there. They've put it in as a cool move to get to it, but they've put in a rest which gives you a really good indication that the stuff above the rest is going to be really hard. Get to the rest as fast as you can, rest there for as long as possible, calculate your time as much as possible, and then sprint to the top. Easier said than done. There's so many factors for the climbers to figure out. They've got to effectively on-site the route, they've got to use the time, they've got to play the crowd, they've got the MC, they've got the music. There's so much going on here for the athletes. If you were to look at the perfect descent, be sprint to the rest as much as you can, bomb it to the top, whilst putting on a mega show.
Whilst getting the crowd pumped up, yeah.
Maybe doing a few Hollywood spins whilst you're up there, and a bit, maybe drop your chalk bag halfway up. Dyno to the top hold, catch it, drop it, latch it again, you know, all of that sort of stuff.
I get the gist. Ashima Shirashi, by the way, comparing notes with Yutong Zhang. They've been deep in conversation since they began sitting together a couple of minutes ago. Really going through the moves. You can see them miming it. Really interesting to see.
Yeah, in all seriousness, the route does suit these climbers really well. So I think this is adding to the pressure. There's these delays that they keep putting in as well, just to kind of really build up the hype. And yeah, it's a big opportunity here as well. And I think everyone gets a slight sniff that Janja might not be on 100% form. So they know they're not fighting for second or third. There's a potential World Cup win on the line here.
Here comes Mia Krampel. Podium for her earlier in the year in Munich, but never been on a lead one. Got a good shot today. Seems to be fully recovered from that knee injury she picked up in Munich. I don't think used her full 40-second individual observation allowance, just wants to get on with it.
Yeah, she barely lifted her head there actually.
But to be honest, they were deep in conversation throughout the 6-minute observation, the 3 Slovenians. I suspect that conversation's carried on backstage.
Ooh, just an early slip there actually. Right foot just went on one of these little overlapping volumes, recovered it quite nicely. She actually just landed back on the lower volume. Got away with that one. Nobody wants to fall off before the first quick draw.
No, she really did. We'd have been denied an interesting part of our show as well, so luckily she's carried on. Doesn't seem to have thrown her confidence too much, just one of those things. Get on with motoring up. And how will she deal with this? Chooses to get the foot high and looks pretty solid on it.
She's slightly taller than Ashima and Vita.
And she's going to clip, I think, from the crimp rather than from one of the round volumes. I think that's probably the way to do it, actually.
Yeah, that's what we saw Yutong Zhang doing as well.
Presumably as well, being a bit taller, she'll get the double clip. Remember, she's got to clip the quick draws in sequence. So you can't just think, well, I can reach that one, so I'll skip the other one. You've got to clip them all. Mia Krampel setting a pretty good pace here. If you think about how long it's taken some of the climbers to get here, she's still got 4 minutes of her time remaining, and she's getting pretty close to the rest.
Yeah, she's gone for a completely different sequence, so it would be interesting to see if the other Janja comes out with the same sequence as well, crossing through on those lower crimps. There's 1, 2, 3 crimps on offer there. Looks like you can use all of them in pretty much any sequence.
It looks a slightly high risk way of doing it. If that left foot popped, you'd be in a pretty tricky situation. Again, at the rest and deciding to milk it, and sets off with 3:40 left. So I'd be very, very surprised if time came into it for Mia Krampel. So the first of these powerful moves up, and it's the left shoulder that takes the load first. It'll be the right as well in just a second.
Yeah, left Gaston into the right Gaston. Feet cut as we saw with Vita Lucan. Seems to control it with no issue though.
The Slovenians really have read the route together. She's choosing to take another little rest. Again, glances down at the time. She's climbed actually very quickly, and has almost half her time remaining as the head wall approaches. Now she's onto the crimps of the head wall. Remember, it was a 36 that leads the way for Ashima. Still some way to go from that, but could we be about to see a high point? Mia Krampel's climbed quickly. Looks like she's got something left, although she's clearly tired.
Yeah, she's not too happy with this left pinch at the moment. Does get the clip off the right. Just tries to search for that little left screw-on. Punches into that side pull.
I think we could be about to see a new high point here. That's hole 36. If she can move off it, we have got our new high point. Ashima watching on as Mia Krampel cannot move off it.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see that back. I think she just faded out at the top of the wall there. She was looking really solid up until that quick draw that she got. She was searching for some option, potentially a drop knee with her left foot. It was too high to use, and at which point it looked like she'd completely faded out on the terrible strong side pulls that are up there.
Yeah, Mike, I think she'll get a 36 and she'll move ahead of Ashima on count back, I believe. Always cede to the judges, but that's how it looked to me. That's hole 36 she's got her right hand on.
Yeah, you can see the right arm was really tired, the elbow was really up. She just went to bring the left foot up, and the screw-on is actually really closely blocked by the wall, so the screw-on's right at the back of the volume. So when she went to put her left foot up there, it didn't quite go on correctly, and at which point the right arm had nothing left to save the day.
Mia Krampel. We are still waiting for her score to come through. I'm pretty sure it is going to be a 36, and that'll move her into first place. But for how long? Here comes Janja Garnbret. 2 weeks ago, I very much doubt she expected to be in this position of not being the favourite for a lead World Cup and playing catch-up, but that's how the season's panned out. She has got real competition this season from the most unexpected of sources. I think a lot of people were expecting her to just cruise to a 4th consecutive lead World Cup season victory. It has not proved to be going that way so far. Real pressure for Janja. She climbs 3rd to last, also an unfamiliar position for her. But this is Janja Garnbret we're talking about. She can do something special here.
This is a massive moment in the 2019 lead season.
Mia Krampel has moved into first place, by the way. She did score a 36, and it's count back that moves her ahead of Ashima. It is a huge moment in the season. No one quite sure what to make of it. Doesn't do that move perhaps the most efficient way possible, almost pretty much chose to let the feet cut off. But she's on with it now, and I think she'll go up, get the crimp, then clip. That is what she's doing. And employs a heel hook just to lessen the load a little bit more. So again, She's tall enough to get the double clip, and then she's got the jump. No problem, just had to be careful there. Her left arm, I think, was just slightly caught behind the rope. One of those possible problems you can encounter when leading and you've got a rope and quick draws to deal with. She did well to free it.
Yeah, just had a little left foot slip on the top of that pocket as well, but seems to have recovered it. She's kind of looking really bouncy on the route at the moment. This is the same sequence that we saw Mia Krempel using just before her. Statically through there, doesn't cut the feet at that stage.
So again, plenty of time remaining, Janja. 4 minutes and 2 seconds now. So pretty much 4 minutes on the nose for Janja, and she's got herself over to the rest. So that gives her, you would have thought, time for I guess a 20-30 second pause here, and then the option, I guess, of perhaps a little shakeout and a chalk up a bit later on the elevator doors. Already underway, Janja was there for about 25-30 seconds, and now she's on with the rest of her attempt. Goes for the high foot, and he's safely into the left-hand hold.
Yeah, slightly different sequence, just to put the left heel up into this second Gaston.
Janja looking okay, definitely a little bit pumped, but reasonably composed at this stage. Clip safely done. She'll go up with the left hand, then cross through, you'd imagine, with the right. Taking every opportunity to have a little shake and a chalk up here, Janja, and the crowd suddenly come to life. Janja Garnbret 4 moves away from matching the high point of Mia Krempel and Ashima. Slight fumble with the clip, but she's on her way again now. That's hole 33. 34. Now up to 35. If she can latch hole 36, she'll take the lead on countback. That's hole 36 right there. So that's her in the lead at this stage. But she doesn't want a high point. She wants a top. A high point is not enough for Janja Garnbret. She is feeling competitive. She's being challenged, and she's got the opportunity to make a big statement here. The dance music kicks in, the crowd really beginning to shout. Janja's got hard move after hard move here, and every move she does is pushing the high point further and further away. She gets the right foot up, gets that right hand. It's a big jump for the top, and she latches it. Janja Garnbret finds the first top of the final. She's so pumped, she can barely clip the rope. Still hasn't clipped the rope. It's not a top unless she clips that top quick draw. So she's got the top hold, but it is not a top, as I say, until that quick draw is clipped. High drama here in Briancon. Janja Garnbret launched for the top, couldn't get a hand free to clip the quick draw. Now she's done it. Big fist pump. She's done all she can do in the final. She's topped the route. She got the high point, had a good look at the clock, knew she had plenty of time, and I have to say, cruised the last few moves, and then that big jump to the top, and just couldn't get a hand off long enough to clip.
I have to say, Janja Garnbret has had some epic fights on her hands in the last previous years. Talking World Championship battles, coming out last to try and win the World Championships. In many ways, that was harder work for Janja. She may be slightly off her physical best, and she had to put in a proper fight to get to the top of the wall there. You could see on that very last jug, the way that she did the dyno, she absolutely zero hesitation. She wasn't going to have a repeat of what happened last night. Let's have another look on this final move. As soon as she got into that position, just pounced 1-2 with absolute 100% commitment on that final move. There was no way that she was going to drop that. And then when she got to the top, a quite hilarious moment really, where she was so pumped, she had both her heels on. It is an absolute ledge up there. she could not get the body position right to take her hand off to clip the final draw. Everyone was on their feet going ballistic, and the DJ even had a special Janja tune on, and he had to quickly turn it off to make sure he got the timing right for when she lowered down. A really, really good moment, and great to see Janja top in a final route once again, but she had to fight really hard.
Yeah, interestingly enough, considering that we're told those top moves were really hard, she actually seemed okay on the last 3 or 4 moves, just threw them quickly. Might just have been trying to get them done through the pump, but they didn't look as hard as we might have expected, given the fact that she was clearly pretty pumped.
Yeah, it was just as she turned the lip on the headboard, she started to, she just fumbled the quick draw a little bit, just as she made the angle change. The rope was a little bit tangled in her legs, and it just sort of sapped her arms a little bit. And like you say, she just seemed to drop a gear in the head wall, just to kind of cruise through a couple of moves, and then that top move, I think that's going to be the separator realistically.
Okay, so Natsuki Tani gets underway. A bit like Janja yesterday, Mike alluded to it. She got a hand on the top hole but couldn't stick it. Janja, in a not dissimilar move yesterday, launched for the top, got a hand, couldn't stay there. Natsuki Tani the same. However, she did out-qualify Janja, so if she was the top, she would move ahead on count back to that qualifying performance.
So Janja Gambit, actually the oldest competitor in this field at just 20 years old, and she's got just the most insane amount of experience in comparison to Natsuki Tani. Natsuki Tani qualified higher than her in the semi-final round, but can she deal with the fact that Janja's just topped it? She knows that if she wants to go ahead, a top is the only option.
Yeah, it's scarcely believable as it is. Janja is the only person competing in this women's final that wasn't born in this millennium. She is the veteran at 20 years old. Slight fumble from Natsuki Tani, just had to fiddle with that quick draw there. Again, getting the clip. She is a bit shorter than some of the other climbers. I think she's just doing the maths in her head about whether she can reach the other one. Can just. So here comes the jump. She's got to get lined up for it. Oh, the feet cut loose at a pretty key moment.
Yeah, she's gone for the hand match. She was just floating around on one arm there for a second. She actually had a similar sort of issue in Chamonix just last week, really low down on the route, just lost her feet, couldn't quite decide what to do. She's a climber who, if there's a static way of doing it, she'll find it, tries the right foot again, doesn't end up with a hand stack, just swings into it. That was better in the end.
Now she's moving out across those crimps. I wonder how much energy was burned from that kind of semi-lock off on the left arm. She's across to the rest. Less time than Janja had, under 3.5 minutes, and chooses basically not to take any rest at all. Powers straight on through.
Yeah, didn't shake the right arm at all really there, just went straight into the cross through into that next screw on undercut.
You'd imagine it is an indication that she's not especially tired.
Big deep lock there. Had to try really hard to get that first Gaston on the left-hand side. He's matched it. It's the first time we've seen actually over there matching. It's the way that she floats around on these holds makes them all look like absolute whopping jugs, to be honest.
Yeah, so Natsuki, the feet have cut loose a couple of times, but it doesn't seem to have slowed her down too much. So Natsuki Tani now heading out onto the head wall. Perhaps beginning to get a little bit pumped now. Wonder if she might regret not taking a longer rest. Now she's beginning to shake, trying to figure out how to get this clip done.
Yeah, it's the same quick draw that Janja had a little bit of a scrap with. Different technique there from Natsuki.
Crowd getting into this now. Hold coming up is hold 36, so that would move her ahead. That's the one onto into second place as it stands, but she wants more than that.
Be very surprised if this route's not going to come down to this final jump.
Janja Garmret is on stage looking up at this. She's done all she can do. What can Natsuki Tani produce from here? Route setter Jan Zabranek said it's 12 hard moves, one after the other. Going well so far. I think you're right, Mike. It could come down to the jump. Natsuki Tani's lining it up. Looks an awfully long way. Now she goes for it and comes up well short. It's enough for second place, so makes that jump from Janja look even more impressive because she didn't even get a hand to it.
Yeah, she was a fair way off that. I have to say that this route up to that stage, it really does suit her style, which is slow and steady, maximum amount of endurance. Kind of, you know, she's very, very small athlete, and she's just under those holes. Everything just looks so big for her, just so relaxed on all of these small crimps. Even that section low down, just finding static ways to do pretty much every single move. And then when it came to the big pound to the top, she didn't really have the power.
Yeah, I think she knew she wasn't making that,
Yeah,
but she gets separation. Could we see another climber about to get the same